Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system. A stormy gas giant with no solid surface. 2.5 times as massive as all of the other planets combined. Jupiter is the third brightest object in the night sky after the Moon and Venus. It has been observed since the dawn of man and was often called a wandering star by ancient peoples, baffled by its movement across the heavens. The planet is named for the Roman king of the gods, and for good reason. This Goliath has a diameter almost 11 times greater than the Earth. Jupiter is made up of gas and liquid and has no solid surface. Its gaseous material simply gets denser as you move inward. The planet is almost 90% hydrogen and 10% helium, with traces of methane, water, and ammonia. Despite its huge size, Jupiter completely rotates on its axis in less than 10 hours, faster than any other planet. The colorful bands we see across this planet are layers of atmosphere. The colors indicate the cloud's altitude. Blue are the lowest, then browns and whites, finally the highest, reds. Huge storms and hurricane-force winds roll across the surface. A gigantic storm is also behind one of Jupiter's most famous features, the Great Red Spot. Due to its massive size, and because of where it orbits the Sun in relationship to us, its gravity deflects many asteroids and comets headed our way. If Jupiter were not in our solar system, we'd be hit by an asteroid or comet every 10,000 years, instead of every 100 million. Jupiter is millions of miles out in space, but it is not alone. It has, at last count, 63 moons. One of them, Ganymede, is the largest in the solar system. In fact, this satellite of Jupiter is even slightly larger than Mercury, and considerably bigger than Pluto. Saturn, the sixth planet from the Sun, 9 times the size of Earth and orbited by scores of moons. And strangely, a planet encircled by glimmering rings of rock and ice. Saturn, named for the Roman god of the harvest since prehistoric times. Able to be seen with the naked eye, it was the most distant of the 6 known planets. In Hindu astrology, Saturn, or Shani, was known as the judge among the gods in the heavens. Ancient Chinese astronomers referred to it as the Earth Star. Then in 1610, Galileo peered up at Saturn through his telescope, opening a window into this mysterious world. Unlike most other planets, Saturn has no definable surface. Instead, there is a gradual transition from a gaseous atmosphere to a liquid interior. Saturn is not only one of the largest planets, it is also one of the brightest. Saturn's distance from the Sun, 900 million miles. Saturn rotates faster than any other planet except Jupiter. One day lasts just 10 hours and 33 minutes. Scientists doubt that any form of life could exist in this inhospitable world. With no solid surface and an atmospheric pressure so great that it squeezes any gas into a liquid, the conditions are simply too harsh. Huge storms churn up the atmosphere. One of the biggest is nicknamed the Dragon Storm. Appearing like a massive white cloud in the southern hemisphere, it produces dramatic white plumes and even emits radio waves. It also has some of the fastest winds found anywhere in the solar system, with speeds reaching over 1,100 miles per hour. The oddest thing about Saturn is the existence of its famous rings. These rings stretch for hundreds of thousands of miles out into space, but surprisingly, they are only a few miles deep. They appear to be a continuous band, but are actually composed of millions of tiny particles, each in an independent orbit around the planet, made up of mostly water ice as well as dust and rock. These particles vary in size from as small as a grain of sand to as large as a car. The ice in Saturn's rings is highly reflective, making them easily visible from Earth, but only through a telescope. Saturn takes 29.5 Earth years to orbit the Sun. Saturn has more known moons than any other planet except Jupiter, 60 of them. Despite these recent discoveries, this planet, Saturn, remains one of the solar system's greatest mysteries. This is Space School, signing off. Class dismissed.